Hello and welcome. The You Need Faith in Jesus team is so glad you're here with us today. We're about to explore one of the shortest Psalms in the entire Bible, Psalm 131, but wow, is it powerful. It's really this incredible 3-verse journey to finding a deep, spiritual rest that, let's be honest, so many of us are desperately looking for. So, let's just dive right in.
But before we go any further, I want to start with a really direct question. Just take a moment and think about your own life, your own heart. Is your soul truly at rest? You know, it's a simple question, but the answer can tell us so much. And the good news is, this psalm gives us a beautiful roadmap to get there.
Okay, so this whole journey, it starts with the absolute bedrock of our relationship with God, humility. In this very first verse, David makes this really personal, really powerful confession about his posture before the Lord.
He says, "Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor mine eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high for me." What a statement. See, this isn't about him just putting on a show, trying to look humble. No, this is a deep internal decision. David is basically saying, I have actively chosen to resist arrogance. I'm not going to walk around with this air of superiority, even though he was the king.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, a haughty heart, that's one that's just full of arrogance, right? It feels like it needs to have all the answers. It's a heart that's kind of striving to be its own God. But David, he chooses the other path. He chooses to know his place before his Creator. That means resisting pride, becoming content with his human limitations, and just simply trusting God, especially with things that are, like he said, too high for me.
And get this mindset David has is a timeless truth. I mean, centuries later, the Apostle Paul says almost the exact same thing in Romans 12:3. He writes, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. Real spiritual rest, it begins the moment we stop trying to be God and just let ourselves trust Him.
All right, let's move on to verse 2 and see how this all builds. Starting from that foundation of humility, David then paints this incredibly beautiful and intimate picture of what a quieted soul really looks like.
This, right here, this is the heart of the whole psalm. David writes, "Surely I have behaved and quieted myself, as a child that is weaned of his mother. My soul is even as a weaned child." Now this isn't a picture of weakness, not at all. It's a picture of profound, mature trust. It's an active choice he's making to quiet all that noise inside of him.
So what on earth is a weaned soul? Well, think about it like this. An infant, an unweaned baby, cries for its mother because it has a desperate need for milk, right? Its relationship is totally based on getting that provision. But a weaned child can just rest in its mother's arms simply for the comfort and the security of her presence. It's such a beautiful picture of a secure spiritual attachment. A weaned soul has moved past all those fretful demands and finds contentment just being with God, not just getting things from God.
And this is the result. This is what we're aiming for. A soul that is quiet, that's no longer fighting these anxious battles all the time. It's content, satisfied just by God's presence. It is secure, knowing that we are safe in our Father's arms through Jesus Christ. And it's trusting, able to rest in God's goodness no matter what is going on around us.
Now this deep, personal peace, it isn't meant to be kept a secret. In the very last verse, David does something really cool. He pivots from his own experience and turns it into this huge encouragement for the entire community of faith. He writes, "Let Israel hope in the Lord from henceforth and forever." This is a call for the whole nation to place their hope, their confident, active expectation in the Lord. And you got to notice the time frame he gives, not just for a little while, but henceforth and forever. This is a call to anchor their entire future in the unchanging character of God. So here's the crucial point, the big takeaway. The inner contentment we find in God is the very foundation that allows us to then go out and encourage others. Our personal peace should be overflowing into this collective, confident hope for everyone around us. Okay, this all sounds absolutely wonderful, but let's get practical. How do we actually get there? Let's break down the steps we can take to apply the wisdom of this incredible psalm directly to our own lives. So first things first, acknowledge your limits. Just stop trying to figure everything out. Second, you have to intentionally quiet yourself. You have to calm those anxious, demanding parts of your soul. Third, practice just resting in His presence. This is a big one. Spend time with God just for fellowship, not to get a list of things from Him. And fourth, consciously place your hope in Him. Shift your focus away from today's problems and onto your eternal security in Jesus. And so we end right where David ends, with this powerful command, this incredible invitation. This is the goal. This is the posture we want to have. To place our confident expectation in the Lord, starting right now and carrying on forever.
So let me just leave you with this final thought to really reflect on. When you look at your life right now, and for the future you're imagining, where is your hope truly and ultimately anchored?
We really hope this devotional on Psalm 131 has been a huge blessing to you. It was brought to you by the You Need Faith in Jesus team. Thank you so much for joining us.